Hi everybody. So I made some changes to the program IPCalc, as you can see here. So in the previous video I showed you how to return the first everything in a as a real address, okay, a real IP address. So we have returned the network, the mask, the broadcast, the first IP and last IP. In this case we are going to return the first IP and the last IP as a list. So we can go ahead and generate all the available IP addresses from the first IP to the last IP. Okay, and Python from IPCalc import IPCalc, and we're going to generate here a addresses, and IP. Let's generate a CIDR network. So my network is as follows: 172.16.122.2, for example, /24. So the CIDR is as follows. Now the ADDRs is equal to IPCalc and give it the CIDR. Excellent. So ADDRs now contains the tuple, the network ID, the net mask, broadcast address, and as you can see here, the first IP has been returned as a list, and the second or the last IP has been returned as a list as well. So here what we are going to do is to generate the first and the last IP from ADDRs, which is the index 3 as well as ADDRs index 4. Okay, so last and first. So now how can we generate IP addresses from 1 to 254? This is pretty easy. So we can make use of the zip method. So we can give it past the first list and the last list. As you can see here, it would take the first element from the first list and add it on a tuple with the first element from the second list. So now for IG, as you can see here, as you can imagine, for IG in zip first, last, we can go ahead and return ing, isn't it? Excellent. So now we are going to create an index here. Index is equal to 0. I'm going to show you what I'm doing here. So for IG in zip of first, last, what we are going to do is to, if I was equal to G, that means we are not going to make changes to the first element, so we are going to increment the index. Okay, else what we are going to do here is we are going to loop through, create a range of numbers from 1 to 254. So in order to do so, for octet in range of integer of I and or int g, and I and g are basically 1 and 254 here because I is not equal to g. Okay, so what we are going to do simply is to print, we are going to join the addresses from those lists, and what we are going to join basically is the string of anything, like for example p. For p in the first list, as you can see here, from 0 to the index. If you remember, the index here is 3, isn't it? So this is 0, 1 and 2. So this basically would actually join 172.16.122 together. Okay, and the first to index, so we have to close this, and we are going to add plus or point here, %s and plus octet. Okay, the octet is the range from 1 to g plus 1, or we can do that, we cannot actually, so let's do it here, a d plus octet or ints of octet plus 1. Okay, str and int. Okay, so we are going to do it. So let's index is equal to 0. So I'm sorry for that, guys. So if I was equal to g, go ahead and increment the index. Else, go ahead and loop through, here int g plus 1. Okay, int g plus 1, and let's make it here as a string. Excellent. So as you can see here, we have generated IPs from 1 to 200 and 254. So let's generate another. Let's try with the same algorithm. We're going to create another CIDR. The CIDR is equal to 172.16.122 points, point what, point anything, 5/16. Okay, so now we're going to create a new ADDRs, which is IPCalc of the CIDR, and the ADDRs now contains the elements. So as you can see here, now the net mask has been changed, and the FSC would be changed to ADDRs 3, and the last would be changed to ADDR 4. And here we are going to create the index is equal to 0. Here we are going to initialize the value of the index because it has been changed. And now let's use the same algorithm here. So if, as always, if I is equal to g, we are going to increment the value of index. Else we are going to loop through, from octet in as follows. We are going to join it. So sorry. So we're going to join the octet, and as you can see here, we've got an error. So this work only for so what we need to do here basically is to let's do an index is equal to 0. Let's try to make changes here for I in G. I'm so sorry. If I was equal to blah blah blah, go ahead and increment the value of index. Else loop through each blah blah and print join. But here we are going to add another point s, and we are going to add another octet here, okay, which is great. Octet. Let's try that. Oh, excellent. Now we have our little output here. So as you can see here, we have generated IPs from 1 to 254, and basically, as you can see here, we have all the combinations, not all the combinations, but let's try to make some other changes. So what we are doing here for octet in range int I plus g, we are going to join the str of b, the first and the last index. For octet, so we have to create another. We have to put a nested for statements. So let's index 0. I think that would work for us. Let's increment the value of g. Else we are going to loop through each blah blah, and for octet 2, for O2 in range of you know, int of I and int of j plus 1, we are going to, you know, print. So here would be octet 1 and here it would be octet 2. Let's make it as you can see here. So excellent. Now we should be okay. So now as you can see here, 255 is here from 1 to blah 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 to 1, from 1 to 245, 3. So excellent. Seems it worked for us. Okay, so actually guys, hopefully you like this video. I'm sorry for you know, for this video actually took us a lot of time, so I think we're about 15 minutes, so I'm sorry for that. Hopefully you like this video. See you next time.